Maya worked in the maintenance station on Kareth Station 7, and no one knew her name. She had been there for 3 years. 3 years of checking gauges, fixing broken pipes, and writing reports that nobody read. The aliens who ran the station did not care about human names. They called her Unit Female 12 when they bothered to call her anything at all. The station hung in space like a metal spider, spinning slowly around the planet below. Humans came here to mine rare minerals that the rest of the galaxy wanted. The Kareth came here to watch the humans and make sure they did the work. It was a simple arrangement. Humans worked. Kareth watched. Nobody questioned anything. Maya was different from the other humans, though. She noticed things. She saw the small problems before they became big problems. She remembered numbers and patterns and dates. Her grandmother had taught her to pay attention to details when she was young. Back on Earth, Grandmother had said that the small things mattered most. The small things could kill you if you missed them. The morning began at 6 o'clock. Maya put on her suit and entered the maintenance tunnel. The station was alive with sound and vibration. Pumps pushed water through pipes. Machines processed air. Generators created power. Everything had to work perfectly, or people died. Maya understood this. The Kareth did not care if people died, but they cared if the operation stopped. She walked to Sector 7 first. This was her routine. She checked the pressure gauges every morning. The numbers told her stories if she knew how to read them. Today, something was wrong. The numbers were too high. Not dangerous yet. Not broken yet. But wrong. Maya opened her logbook and wrote down the numbers. 4.7 kilopascals per hour. That was the increase. The pressure was climbing slower than it should, but it was climbing. She checked the connecting pipes. Nothing visible. She checked the seals. Nothing broken. The problem was hidden somewhere in the system. She reported it to Derek, her supervisor. Derek was a good man who treated humans like they had value. He listened to her concerns. Then he took the report to the Kareth inspector, a female named Saxthar. Saxthar looked at the numbers for 2 seconds. Within normal parameters, Saxthar said. Her voice was like metal scraping against stone. Continue operations. Maya wanted to argue. She wanted to explain that something was building, that the numbers were trending wrong, that the pattern showed danger. But she said nothing. Humans did not argue with Kareth. Humans who argued with Kareth disappeared, and no one asked questions about them. That Derek put a hand on her shoulder as they left the command center. He knew what she had wanted to say. He also knew that saying it would accomplish nothing. That night, Maya could not sleep. She lay in her small room and thought about the pressure in Sector 7. Kareth did not understand humans very well. They were logical. They saw numbers and believed the numbers. If the numbers said everything was fine, then everything was fine. They did not understand that numbers could be hiding a story. Maya did not have Kareth logic. She had something else. She had the ability to see the next step. She could imagine how things would fall apart. It was a skill that humans possessed, a way of thinking that Kareth called irrational, but that kept humans alive. At midnight, she got out of bed and went back to the maintenance station. No one stopped her. No one was watching. Humans moved around the station at all hours. The Kareth had given up trying to understand human sleep patterns. She checked Sector 7 again. The numbers had gone up. 4.8 kilopascals per hour now. The climb was happening faster. She traced every pipe, every connection, every seal. She used her scanner to look inside the walls. There, behind the secondary cooling line. A hairline crack in a pressure coupling. The crack was small enough that her eyes could not see it, but her scanner could see the heat escaping. Water was leaking into a space it should never reach. The leak was slow. Very slow. But as pressure built up inside the coupling, the crack would grow. In hours, it would become a break. In a day, it would become an explosion. Maya made her decision. She would not ask permission this time. She would not report it and hope someone listened. She took the emergency toolkit and removed the cooling line. The alarm on the system should have sounded. She disabled it. She worked for 3 hours, replacing the broken coupling with a new one and resetting all the connections. When she was finished, the pressure was normal. She did not file a report. She did not tell Derek what she had found. She simply put the broken coupling in her personal locker and sealed it away. 2 days later, she heard Derek talking to another supervisor. The Kareth had assigned blame for the pressure anomaly. A human maintenance tech named Paul had been responsible. He had failed to notice a problem. The Kareth wanted compensation. Paul would lose his payment for the month. He would also be reassigned to the lowest level of the operation. Maya felt something tighten in her chest. Paul was innocent. She knew the truth. But the truth did not matter when the Kareth had already decided on punishment. The Kareth did not apologize. They did not change their minds. They simply moved forward, assuming that their logic was perfect. That night, Maya took the broken coupling out of her locker. She held it in her hands and looked at the hairline crack. She thought about Paul losing his money. She thought about Derek trying to be fair in a system that was not designed to be fair. She thought about every human on this station who was overlooked, dismissed, ignored. She went to her supervisor and told him everything. She explained the crack, the pressure buildup, the danger. She did not explain why she had fixed it without reporting it. Derek's face went pale. Maya, why did you not tell me? We could have explained this to the Kareth. They would not have listened, Maya said simply. They might have. They might have understood. Maya looked at him. Derek was kind, but he did not understand how the Kareth thought. They would not listen to humans explain anything. They would only listen to Maya if she made them understand that she had value, that her opinions had worth, that her mind could do things their minds could not do. I am telling you now, Maya said. Tell them I found it. Tell them I fixed it. Tell them that what their inspector missed, I caught. Derek did not move. He looked at the broken coupling in Maya's hands and understood what she was really saying. She was standing up. She was claiming space that humans were not supposed to claim. It was dangerous. But it was honest. He took the coupling and went to report to the Kareth command. Maya did not sleep more than 3 hours a night for the next 4 months. She worked 18-hour days, moving through the station systems like a woman possessed. Every pipe was checked. Every connection was tested. Every seal was inspected. She found problems everywhere. The Kareth had maintained the basic functions of the station, but they had not truly cared about the small issues. A valve that did not quite seal properly. A pipe that had a hairline fracture. A connection that was loose by a fraction of a millimeter. These were the kinds of things that killed people. Maya fixed them all. She created a new system for maintenance reports. Instead of waiting for problems to become critical, she started checking systems before they failed. She kept detailed records of every measurement, every repair, every replacement. She drew up plans for improvements. She identified weak points before they became dangerous. The other humans began to notice her. They saw her working alone in the maintenance tunnels, her suit covered in grease and coolant. They saw her at the command center, speaking directly with Kareth officers. She was no longer the quiet girl in logistics. She had become someone important. Derek assigned 2 human technicians to work under her. Their names were Marcus and Patricia. They were both skilled workers, but they had never been given real authority. Now, they had a supervisor who believed in them. A supervisor who listened to their ideas and actually considered their suggestions. You know this is insane, right? Marcus said one day as they worked on a pressure line in Sector 5. "You are a human female. The Karath do not think we are smart enough to maintain their station." "I know," Maya said. "So why do you work so hard? Why do you care so much?" Maya thought about Kevin. He was still alive, but barely. The Karath doctor said his brain was too damaged. When he woke up, if he woke up, he would not be the same person. He would not understand language or recognize faces. He would be a broken shell of the man he had been. Because someone has to make sure this does not happen again. Maya said that Patricia was listening from her position at the valve controls. She understood what Maya had meant. Everyone on the station understood by now. Maya was working this hard because she blamed herself for not forcing the Karath to listen before people died. But Maya blamed more than just herself. She blamed the system that dismissed human knowledge. She blamed the Karath for assuming that they were superior. She blamed the universe for arranging itself so that humans had to beg for respect. 2 months into her new position, Commander Zor visited the environmental control station. This was unusual. The commander did not typically visit the maintenance areas. Maya was in the middle of analyzing the cooling system data when one of the Karath officers informed her that the commander was present. She stood and waited. Zor was 7 feet tall with skin that shifted between blue and purple when he was thinking. His eyes were hard and intelligent. He examined her workstation in silence, looking at the data displays, the maintenance logs, the repair schedules. "Your reports indicate that you have completed 74 system repairs in 2 months," he said. "You have identified 43 additional areas that require maintenance. You have created new protocols for system management. This is substantial work. The systems needed it," Maya said. "Your inspector said the systems were within normal parameters 3 months ago. Now you say the systems were failing. One of you is wrong." "He was wrong," Maya said. She did not soften it. She did not add "sir" or apologize for the statement. He did not understand what to look for. "I do." Zor's skin shifted to a darker blue. In Karath communication, this was the color of respect mixed with curiosity. How is a human capable of this level of analysis? "I pay attention," Maya said. "I notice the small things. My species is good at this. We notice patterns. We see dangers before they become critical. We plan ahead. The Koreath are logical, but logic requires information. I provide that information. Your species is not known for intellectual superiority," Zor said. "In fact, humans are known for emotion and irrationality. We are also known for survival," Maya said. "We survived Earth. Do you know what Earth is like?" Zor did not answer. "Earth is a death world. Everything there is designed to kill you. The weather, the animals, the plants. Every single day, something is trying to end your life. Humans evolved to notice the small signs of danger. We evolved to survive when everything around us wants us dead. That is why I am good at this work. That is why I see what your inspector missed." Zor made a sound that might have been respect or might have been amusement. The Karath were difficult to read. "Continue your work," he said. "The station depends on your competence." He left without another word. 3 months later, the maintenance systems were completely overhauled. Maya had not just fixed existing problems. She had redesigned major sections of the infrastructure. The water circulation system was more efficient. The power distribution was safer. The atmospheric processors had redundant backups. Derek brought her a datapad with a message from the Karath administrative office. She was being recommended for a promotion. She would now officially oversee all environmental and structural systems on the station. Her salary would increase. She would have an office. Maya looked at the promotion notice and felt nothing. She had already accepted this role. The paperwork was just the Karath catching up to reality. What mattered was that Kevin was still alive. His condition had not improved, but it had not worsened. The Karath doctors were considering experimental treatment. The Kareth wanted to experiment on him because he was human, and humans were useful for experiments. But the experimental treatment had a chance of actually helping him. Maya visited Kevin in the medical bay every day after her shift. She sat beside his bed and talked to him even though he could not respond. She told him about the systems she had fixed. She told him about Marcus and Patricia and how they were improving their skills. She told him about the look on Commander Zor's face when he realized that humans could actually think. "You were right," she told him. "You said that if humans were smart enough, if we worked hard enough, we could prove our value. You were right, Kevin. I just had to prove it." Kevin did not respond. His eyes remained closed. But Maya believed that somewhere inside him, he could hear her. She believed that he would wake up one day and see that she had changed things. That humans had value on this station now. That Maya, the girl who used to be overlooked, had forced the Karath to acknowledge that humans were more than just units. The station hummed around her, all its systems running smoothly because she had made them run smoothly. For the first time in her life, Maya felt like she mattered. She felt like her intelligence had value. She felt like she was not just surviving the system but changing it, and she knew that this was only the beginning. The Karath still saw humans as servants. They still believed that they were superior. But they were starting to understand that humans possessed something they did not. Humans possessed the ability to see danger before it came. Humans possessed the will to work beyond exhaustion. Humans possessed something that the Karath called irrationality, but that was actually something far more powerful. They possessed hope. The Karath did not apologize. Maya had not expected them to. What she had expected was to be dismissed. Instead, Commander Zor had actually listened to Derek's report. He had looked at the broken coupling. He had read the pressure data that Maya had recorded in her personal log. Then he had done something surprising. He had blamed his own inspector for the miss, but he had also looked at Maya with different eyes. She had stayed quiet for 3 years, and then she had taken action. She had solved a problem that would have destroyed the station. The Karath respected competence. They understood systems. What Maya had done was logical, and logic was the only language they truly spoke. Still, nothing changed for Maya. She went back to her routine. She checked the gauges. She filed her reports. No one thanked her for saving the station. No one gave her extra payment or recognition. The Karath simply moved forward as if the incident had never happened. But Derek watched her differently now. And Kevin, the young man who worked in the power section, had heard the story. He started sitting with her during meals. He was not afraid of her anymore. He was interested in her. By the time 2 weeks had passed, Kevin had become her friend. Her only friend on the station. Kevin was 25 years old and full of questions. He wanted to understand how things worked. He wanted to know why humans were not treated better. He wanted to know if there was a way to change things. Maya told him the truth. There was no way to change things. The Karath owned the station. The Karath made the rules. Humans existed only to do the work. That was the arrangement, and it would not change. Kevin did not accept this answer. He believed that if humans were smart enough, if they worked hard enough, they could prove their value. Maya thought he was naive, but she also liked that he was kind to her. She liked that someone on this station saw her as a person and not just a unit. 3 weeks after the broken coupling incident, the alarm came. It was not the small alarm of a system malfunction. It was the deep, terrible alarm of a hull breach. The station shook. People fell. Emergency lights turned the corridors into a nightmare of red and shadow. Maya was in the maintenance station when it happened. She grabbed the railing and held on as the station swayed. Around her, the gauges went crazy. Pressure dropped in multiple sectors. The automatic bulkheads were sealing off damaged areas. Something was very wrong. The second alarm came at 03:05 hours. The human shelter was being called to action. Workers were being assigned to emergency stations. Maya heard her name called over the communication system. She was ordered to the Environmental Control Center. She ran through the corridors with other humans. No one knew what was happening. When she arrived at the control center, Derek was already there. His face was gray with shock. He pulled her aside and spoke quietly, away from the other humans and the Karath officers who were coordinating the emergency response. "Sector 9, he said. "Hull breach." 3 people were in the area. The automatic seals closed too late. Maya's stomach dropped. Sector 9. Kevin worked in that section. He had been testing the power lines that morning. Derek did not say that Kevin had been one of the 3. He did not have to. "Is he?" Maya could not finish the sentence. "Medical bay. Critical condition. The doctors are working on him, but the damage is severe." Maya felt something break inside her chest. Kevin had been kind to her. Kevin had believed that humans could do better. Now Kevin was dying because the system had failed. Because the Karath had not maintained the station properly. Because no one had listened when humans pointed out the problems. The Karath commander ordered an investigation. Someone was responsible for the breach. Someone had failed to maintain the equipment. The Karath wanted answers. They wanted punishment. They wanted someone to blame. Maya stood in the emergency center and listened as the Karath officers discussed the failure. They examined the reports. They studied the damage assessments. Then, one of them looked at the maintenance records and found her reports about Sector 7. The commander's skin shifted colors. He looked at Maya. "You reported a pressure anomaly 3 weeks ago," he said. It was not a question. "Yes," Maya said. "Your report was dismissed by my inspector. The system was within normal parameters." "The system was failing," Maya said. "The crack was small, but it was growing. If it had not been stopped, the station would have lost Sector 7 and everything connected to it." The commander was silent. His skin flickered between blue and purple. When he spoke again, his voice was cold and final. "The breach in Sector 9 was caused by a failure in the primary structural support system. This is a connection to the maintenance procedures in Sector 7. If maintenance was improper, then the entire station is at risk." He turned away from her and issued orders. An investigation would be conducted. A responsible party would be identified. Punishment would follow. Maya understood what this meant. Someone would be blamed. It might be the inspector who had dismissed her report. It might be Derek for not pushing harder. Or it might be her for not forcing the issue when she knew something was wrong. She walked out of the emergency center. No one stopped her. She walked through the corridors to the medical bay. She wanted to see Kevin. She wanted to know if he was still alive. The Karath doctors were working on his body in their cold, efficient way. Kevin's eyes were closed. His skin was pale. There were tubes connected to him, machines helping him breathe, medication flowing through his veins. The doctors did not acknowledge her. They simply continued their work. She stood there for 10 minutes. Then she left. She went to the command center. The Karath officers turned to look at her. A human female, walking directly to the command center. It was not normal behavior. "I made a report 3 weeks ago," Maya said. Her voice was steady. The inspector dismissed it. That decision led to what happened in Sector 9. "I did not cause this breach. But I knew something was wrong, and no one listened to me because I am human, and because I am female, and because the Karath believe that our opinions have no value." Commander Zor turned to face her. His skin was dark blue, the color of deep anger. "You dare claim that our judgment was wrong?" "I dare claim that you did not listen," Maya said. "I dare claim that if you had listened to me, or to any human who understands this station, the breach would not have happened. I dare claim that this is your responsibility, not mine. But I am willing to take responsibility. Put me in charge of all environmental and structural maintenance systems. Give me the authority to make decisions without waiting for approval. If there is another failure, then you can blame me. But if I fix the problems, then you will know that I was right all along." The silence in the command center was absolute. No human had ever spoken to a Kurith commander this way. "Commander." Zor's skin shifted through several colors before settling on a cold green. He studied Maya for a long moment. "You will be responsible for all systems," he said finally. "If you fail, you will be removed from the station and marked as a liability. Do you understand?" "Yes," Maya said. "Then you will begin immediately. There is much to repair." He turned away. The conversation was finished. Maya left the command center and went to the environmental systems station. She had 3 hours of sleep before her shift would begin. She did not use them. Instead, she pulled up every maintenance record from the past 3 years. She studied every system, every connection, every potential failure point. If the Kurith were going to trust her, she would give them no reason to regret it. She would make sure that this station never failed again. The alarms came at 0400 hours. Not the alarms of a system failure, the alarms of an active threat. Maya was asleep in her quarters for the first time in weeks when the station shook. She was thrown from her bed to the floor. Around her, the lights flickered. Red emergency lighting filled her small room. She pulled on her suit and ran to the command center. The corridors were filled with humans being directed to emergency shelters. The Karath officers were moving with purpose, assembling weapons and tactical equipment. There was no confusion in their movements. They were trained for combat. When Maya reached the command center, she found chaos. Multiple screens displayed the space around the station. 3 ships were approaching. They were massive, their hulls scarred and dark. Their design was nothing like the Kurith vessels. These were the Zithani, raiders, killers. The Zithani had a simple military doctrine. They saw something they wanted. They took it. Anyone who resisted was destroyed. They did not negotiate. They did not bargain. They conquered or they died trying. Derek found her at the entrance to the command center. He was pale. His hands were shaking. "They want the mining resources," he said. "The Karath are talking about evacuation. They want the humans removed from the station and placed in secure bunkers. The Karath will fight the Zethani here, but if they lose, the bunkers might not survive." Maya looked at the tactical displays. The Zethani ships were closing fast. The Karath defense grid would be active in minutes. The evacuation would take time. Too much time. Commander Zor was giving orders to his officers. He was focused, commanding, certain of his strategy. He did not see Maya standing in the doorway. He did not consider her input. To him, this was a military matter. Humans had no role in military decisions. But Maya saw something on the tactical display that the Karath officers did not seem to be noticing. The Zethani ships were following a standard approach vector. Their weapon systems were being charged. Their targeting computers were calibrating. Everything they were doing made sense for a species with their technology. But Maya understood the station's systems better than anyone in this room. She understood the vulnerabilities. She understood what the station could do. She waited until Commander Zor finished his immediate orders. Then she stepped forward. "I can help," she said. The command center went silent. Karath officers turned to look at her. A human female, interjecting into military planning. It was not just irregular. It was offensive. Commander Zor's skin turned dark. You are dismissed. Go to the shelters. No, Maya said. Listen to me. Your defense grid will fight the Zithani head-to-head. Their ships are stronger. Their weapons are more powerful. You will lose because you are fighting their battle on their terms. We are Kareth, one of the officers said. We do not fear battle. Fear is not the issue, Maya said. Strategy is the issue. The Zithani designed their ships for combat against species with standard technology. They expect weapon systems to work in predictable ways. They expect sensor data to be accurate. They expect their targeting computers to function properly. And they will, Commander Zor said coldly. Only if you let them, Maya said. I can disrupt their systems. Not with weapons. With confusion. With data that does not make sense. Zor studied her. His skin flickered through several colors. How? The environmental systems in the station are connected to the atmospheric processors. I can redirect the flow patterns to create fluctuations in the station's pressure field. The Zithani sensors use a frequency that interacts with atmospheric density. If I change the density in random patterns, their sensors will give them bad data. Their targeting systems will not work properly. This is speculation, one of the officers said. Yes, Maya agreed. But speculation based on knowledge of this station's systems. I understand how the Kareth designed things. I understand the physics. I understand what will happen if I manipulate the atmosphere in specific ways. Another officer spoke. The Zithani can adapt. If the data is unreliable, they will simply recalibrate. They will try, Maya said, which means they will be distracted, which means they will not be using their full combat effectiveness while they recalibrate. That is when you attack. That is when you use the fact that you are Karth and that you can outthink them. Commander Zor turned away from her and examined the tactical display again. He ran through calculations in his mind. Maya could see it in the way his eyes moved, the way his skin pulsed with color. He was thinking through her suggestion, testing it against his understanding of physics and strategy. It could work, he said finally. Or it could fail. If it fails, the station will be more vulnerable. If you do nothing, the station will definitely fail, Maya said. The Zithani are too strong for direct combat. You need an advantage. Zor turned back to face her. You will coordinate this from the Environmental Control Center. You will take orders from Captain VOR, who will coordinate the station's defense. You will not deviate from his instructions. Do you understand? Yes, Maya said. If you fail, if this goes wrong, you will be removed from the station and marked as a liability. I understand. Maya ran to the Environmental Control Center. Captain VR had already arrived. He was a Kareth officer with combat experience. His skin was scarred from old wounds. His eyes were calculating. Show me what you can do, he said. Maya pulled up the environmental system controls. She began explaining the atmospheric processors, the pressure lines, the feedback loops. She showed him how she could manipulate the systems to create interference patterns. She showed him the timing windows where he would need to launch his attack. The Zithani approach in 90 seconds. Vior said, I need 60 seconds to program the disruption sequence. Maya said, you have 30 seconds. Maya's fingers flew across the controls. She was not thinking anymore. She was doing. She was creating a solution to a problem that should have been unsolvable. She was using knowledge that no human was supposed to have. She was proving that her brain could work on the same level as the Kareth, maybe even faster. Done, she said. Activate. VOR ordered. Maya pressed the activation sequence. The environmental systems began to shift. Pressure fluctuated. The atmospheric density changed in patterns that would confuse any sensor designed to detect normal variations. On the main screen, The Zethani ship shuddered. Their weapons' fire became inaccurate. Their formation wavered. "Attack," Vior commanded. The Karath defense grid opened fire. The first Zethani ship took damage. Critical damage. The ship's systems failed. It exploded in a burst of light and debris, but there were two other ships still coming. Maya could see their weapons charging. They were adapting already. The initial confusion was wearing off. "They are recalibrating," she told Veo. "Then give them new data." Vior said. Maya changed the atmospheric disruption pattern. She shifted it to a different frequency, a different pattern. The Zethani sensors would have to recalibrate again. It would take minutes. And in those minutes, the Karath weapons found their targets. The second Zethani ship took damage. Then more damage. Its weapons systems went offline. Its engines died. The third ship fired one last desperate attack, then turned and ran. The ship's commander understood that this battle was lost. Continuing to fight would only result in destruction. Maya watched the ship disappear into the void of space. She was shaking. Her hands were covered in sweat. She had just participated in a battle. She had helped defeat the Xetani. Captain Voyer turned to her. His skin was the color of respect and triumph. "You have changed the course of this battle," he said. "The Karath will remember this. And the Zethani will know that they have encountered something unexpected. Your interference made the difference." "I just used the systems," Maya said. "I just understood how things work." "That," Vaor said, "is exactly what victory requires." The Karath reinforcement fleet arrived 8 minutes after the third Zethani ship fled. They found the station damaged but standing. They found the Zethani threat eliminated. They found their own forces still operating at effective strength. They wanted to know how this victory had been achieved. Commander Zor explained what had happened. He explained Maya's strategy. He explained how a human female had identified a weakness in the Zethani approach and exploited it. The High Command listened. And then they did something that no one had expected. They awarded Maya a formal commendation. In front of the entire station, in front of both Karath officers and human workers, they acknowledged her service. They recognized that her intelligence had saved lives. Maya did not feel victorious. She felt tired. She felt hollowed out by the effort of the battle and all the months that had led to it. She felt the weight of everything she had learned about the Karath and about herself. Derek found her in the environmental control station an hour after the ceremony. He sat down heavily in a nearby chair. "You just changed everything," he said. "I just did my job," Maya replied. "No, you did something more than that. You proved something that the Karath never believed was possible. You proved that a human mind can work in their level. You proved that humans are not just workers and soldiers. We are thinkers. We are strategists. We are valuable." Maya looked at Derek. He was crying. She realized that he was not just proud of her. He was hopeful. She had given all the humans on the station hope. 2 days later, the Karath Authority made an announcement. The human workers were being reorganized. Some would continue in maintenance roles, but others would be given positions that required intellectual work, engineers, analysts, planners. The Karath had decided that humans were capable of more than simple labor. It was not a revolution. It was not equality. The Karath still commanded. The Karath still controlled. But there was now an acknowledgement that humans possessed abilities that had value. Kevin woke up that day. Maya was in his medical room when his eyes opened. For a moment, she thought nothing had changed. Then Kevin's eyes moved. He looked at her. His mouth opened. He said. Just one sound. But it was Kevin's voice, trying to speak her name. "I am here," she said, taking his hand. Over the next days, Kevin recovered slowly. His brain had been damaged, but the Karath experimental treatment had worked better than expected. His memory was fragmented. His speech was difficult. But he was still Kevin. He was still alive. The first thing he asked her to explain was what had happened. Maya sat beside his bed and told him everything. She told him about the broken coupling and her decision to fix it without permission. She told him about the investigation. She told him about taking over the environmental systems. She told him about the Zethani attack and how she had disrupted their sensors. Kevin listened to all of it. Then he smiled. It was a small smile, but it was genuine. "You were right," he said. His words were slow and careful. "Humans can prove our value." "You were right," Maya corrected. "I just did what you believed in." A month after the battle, Maya was called to meet with the Karath High Command. They were stationed on a command ship that orbited the station. It was the first time she had left the station since arriving 3 years ago. The first time she had traveled in a Karath vessel. The command center of the ship was vast and complex. The Karath who worked there barely noticed her. But Commander Zor was waiting for her. And with him was an officer she did not recognize. His name was Keth, and he was the military liaison for the entire sector. "You have proven something important," Keth said. "You have proven that human minds can contribute to strategic problem-solving in ways that pure Karath logic might miss. We are interested in expanding this collaboration." "What does that mean?" Maya asked. "It means we are establishing a new position," Keth said. "A human advisory to the military command structure. You would work with us on tactical problems. You would help us understand unconventional approaches. You would be one of the first humans given real authority in the Karath command hierarchy." Maya felt something shift inside her. She was being offered a position that would have seemed impossible weeks ago. A position of authority. A position that recognized her intelligence and her value. "What about the station?" she asked. "The station will continue operations under new management," Zor said. "Marcus and Patricia have been promoted to oversee the environmental systems. They are competent. They have learned from you. And the other humans? The other humans will benefit from the changes you have made," Keth said. "You have opened the door for your species. Whether we walk through it together depends on how well you perform in this new role." Maya thought about Kevin lying in the medical bay. She thought about Derek, who had believed in her when no one else did. She thought about Marcus and Patricia, who would now have responsibility and authority. She thought about all the humans on the station who had been overlooked and dismissed. "I accept," she said. In the weeks that followed, everything changed. Maya moved from the station to the command ship. She studied Karath tactical doctrine. She worked with their military planners. She showed them how human intuition could complement Karath logic. She showed them that unconventional thinking could solve problems that standard analysis missed. The Karath began to see humans differently. Not as equals, perhaps. Not yet. But as something more than workers. Something more than servants. Something with value. And humans on the station began to see themselves differently. They started asking for more responsibility. They started demanding positions that used their minds, not just their bodies. Some were refused, but others were given a chance. Maya returned to the station once every month to check on the environmental systems. Kevin was there waiting for her. His recovery was continuing. His mind was healing. He might never be completely whole, but he would be alive. He would have a life worth living. "Do you remember what you told me?" Kevin asked during her first visit back. "What?" Maya said. "You told me that there was no way to change things. That the Karath would never treat us differently." Maya smiled. "I was wrong." "No," Kevin said. "You were wrong about there being no way to change things. But you were right that it would be hard. You proved that it was possible. That is different." Maya looked out at the station. She looked at the humans working in the corridors, some of them now doing jobs that required intelligence and skill. She looked at the Karath officers, who were beginning to actually listen to human suggestions. She thought about the girl she had been, the quiet girl that no one noticed, the girl who filed reports that no one read, the girl who was just a unit in a system that did not value her. That girl was gone. In her place was a woman who had changed everything, not through violence, not through anger, but through intelligence, persistence, and a willingness to stand up and claim her own value. The Karath had learned something important. Humans were not strong because of their muscles or their weapons. Humans were strong because they did not accept that they were weak. They persisted. They adapted. They looked for solutions where others saw only problems. And when they finally decided to stop being overlooked, they changed everything. Maya was not just a girl anymore. She was proof that humans belonged among the stars. She was proof that intelligence had no race. She was proof that everyone, no matter how small they seemed, had the power to transform their world. The station hummed around her, all its systems running smoothly. Humans and Karath worked together, not as equals yet, but as something more than master and servant. It was a beginning. And for the first time in her life, Maya believed that beginnings could become something more.